A Thread of Magic, Part 4. First, music started to ring in his ears, muffled, as if from a huge distance. Next, he opened his eyes. His body hurt, but he seemed alive. Losing consciousness twice in one day was not a pleasant thing. He looked around and had a sense of déjà vu. How? Jean-Claude neutralized him, said Zu, who was standing beside Hugo with the young fashion designer. But the music, the power. He released your spell. The show started, and everything seems to be going well. You all need to rest. Hugo sighed with relief. Then he saw a figure in the corner, shaking, weak, defeated, huddled, scared. What about him? Jean-Claude and Artem bound him with spells, and the security guards tied him securely. Hugo looked at him. Something wasn't right. He was a fucking secret agent, well-trained and self-assured. Why was he shuddering? Binding spells usually didn't work that way. He wanted to stand up, but immediately fell down. Help me get to him, he asked them. No fucking way, you're too weak, said the designer. Look, I appreciate your care, but we don't have time for that, Hugo said, and turned to Zu. Go fetch Artem and Jean-Claude. Then he turned back to the young man. What's your name, by the way? Philip. So, Philip, please help me get to him. He won't do anything, he's harmless. He looked at Zu, who made a gesture of resignation and went off to fetch the other two wizards. Philip helped Hugo get up, and they both slowly approached the Russian. Hugo watched him attentively for a moment. Is he murmuring something? Yeah, I guess, but it's very faint. What is he saying? Asked Philip. Something in Russian, I think, I can tell. He looks as if he's in a stupor. No wonder, he got quite a blast. I don't think so, it's something different. Hugo slapped the Russian in the face, and then looked into his eyes. Suddenly, the Russian lunged, trying to grab Hugo's hand, but with his tied hands he moved awkwardly instead. But his eyes were begging for help. Fuck. Something weird is going on. At that moment, Artem and Jean-Claude arrived. What's going on with that scum? Artem asked. Artem, listen to what he's speaking. Can you make anything out of it? Artem hunched over the spy and tried to discern any meaning from the words. It sounds familiar, but it's not Russian. It might be Old Church Slavonic or another old dialect. An old incantation or spell? It would appear so, but why? Don't you have an impression that his eyes are telling something else than the rest of his body? Isn't it like when you thought that dresses were ugly? Zu said. Hugo turned around. Zu did it again, an innocent yet hugely important remark. He's possessed, with a remote spell. That shudder reminds me of people dying of cyanide pills in prisons. Horrible association, I know, added Zu. Oh fuck. Can it be a suicide spell? Oh god, it's such dark magic I can't even, Hugo said. Artem listened in more closely. It's possible, actually. He's saying a lot something like smrti, it sounds like death. Tima, darkness. Dusha, soul, obviously. Pluti, that might be plot or flesh. Ogni, fire. Fuck! We must stop him from finishing the incantation. It's not him saying it. It was implanted in him. Or at least, let's try to confuse him. I have an idea. Just give me half a minute, Zu said and dashed off. All right, guys, let me intervene. "You're obviously too weak to do anything sensible right now," said Jean-Claude in an imperial tone of voice. This wizard is really full of surprises. Jean-Claude began to interfere with the agent's speaking ability, causing the spell to break its pattern. Not much, but it was enough to weaken the spell and postpone it. "Here it is," said Zu, dangling 2 bottles of the tampered champagne. "The champagne?" Hugo said, in disbelief. "Fight fire with fire?" "That's actually quite brilliant," said Artem. "It won't probably break the spell, but it will confuse the hell out of him." "If it makes people hate whatever they have on their plate, he might hate the idea of dying?" proposed Zu. "That really is fucking brilliant. Go on," Hugo said. They opened the bottles and began force-feeding the Russian. "Saved by the champagne, who would have thought?" Hugo said. "Make him drink all of it. Let's not take any chances." The Russian began to shudder more violently. 2 forces were fighting within him. His incantation began to break, stopped, and started again. But the suicide spell was very strong magic. It would outweigh the champagne spell very fast. "Can you handle this spell?" Hugo asked Jean-Claude. "Oh, please. I am still a fully trained wizard, just a little bit rusty." "Okay, I need an anchor in reality, a physical anchor. Come here, sexy boy," he said to Philip. "Hold me tight from behind. I really need to feel your body. This won't be easy. Oh, and by the way, it all stays between us. I'm violating a few rules here." He sat down comfortably by the Russian, with Philip holding him from the back. He closed his eyes and began his magic. The spell was basically about mentally connecting with the other person, merging with the subconscious on a quantum level, finding the seed of the implanted spell, and deactivating it. Easy. The only challenge was not getting distracted by the darkness of the Russian's soul. And he didn't expect anything else than darkness. He took a few moments to prepare mentally for it, and then he merged. He heard gunshots, screams, blood splattering. "And so it begins," thought Jean-Claude. Dark, deteriorating tenement houses. Then a small cottage in the countryside. Hunger, pain, lashes received from someone, a child's crying, then a big grey room full of young boys, someone shouting, then dull concrete barracks, running in the rain, more blood, more suffering. Jean-Claude knew he had to ignore it. All this misfortune had a way of creeping in, and he needed to keep to what he loved the most. He began to name them. Christian Dior, Cristobal Balenciaga, Yves Saint Laurent, and the recent ones, Prada, Jacques Mus. He saw his favorite show that he attended at the Louvre, looking over the Nike statue. And then there was Luc. Of course, he still loved him. A tiny bit of suffering crept in. Focus! He regained his grip on himself and established his intention to find the source of the suicide spell. After a while, he got to it. A very dark, vicious, powerful spell. He had to fight it his way. He invoked the spirit of Christian Dior, together with his 50s New Look era, the most optimistic and joyful period in fashion history. Bright colors, full skirts twirling with joy, return to beauty after World War II austerity. The spring 1947 New Look. He knew it literally made women cry with joy when they saw it. then all the light fabrics of the tulip line from 1953, and the vibrant colors of the Lily of the Valley line from 1954. It actually made Jean-Claude cry with joy. The parade of happy women wearing these cheerful designs began to envelop the dark spell. Jean-Claude never imagined you could actually fight evil with skirts and dresses. But he surely believed in the power of small things in life. And then Mr. Christian Dior himself appeared, impeccably dressed in a suit, wielding scissors in his hand. And he cut that final line that linked the spell to the spy's subconscious. Without the subsistence line that operated like an umbilical cord and supported the spell, it began to shrink and dissolve. Time to go back. Monsieur Dior, thank you for your help, he said to Dior's spirit. Dior nodded and disappeared. And then he returned in his mind to Philip and set an intention to go back to his body, which he did, and fainted. Move his body away from the Russian. His reaction might be unpredictable, said Hugo. The Russian took a deep breath as if he'd been choked for some time. He noticed he had been bound and began to writhe. He looked around and tried to perform any kind of spell but failed. The bonds were strong and he was weak from the inner fight. He began to shout in Russian, cursing everybody. Artem snapped his fingers and muted his voice. Can't let him interrupt the show again, can we? At the same time, Zu went up to Jean-Claude and tried to wake him up. He began to move slowly, making some indistinct sounds. After a while, he opened his eyes, looked around with confusion, and murmured, "Oh, the scent of paradise! Are you one of Monsieur Dior's angels?" "What is he talking about?" Zu asked. "Oh, just kidding." He suddenly began behaving normally, but the models were so beautiful. They all looked at him as if he went mad. "I'll explain later. Did it work?" "Most likely it did, as you see he's cursing everybody right now." "It might as well be the champagne." "Oh, I'm sure it's not," Artem said, going up to him. He slapped him in the face. "We saved your life, you idiot. Say a word more and I make you suffer the way you can't even imagine." "Artem, chill out," Hugo told him. "This guy really pisses me off." "I know, but chill out anyway." "You are idiots," said the Russian. "I'm dead anyway. You have no idea what you're dealing with." "Maybe you are dead, and maybe you're not, if you work with us." "Try a cheerful approach. You're not dead yet," said Hugo. "We saved your life, so a little bit of appreciation would be nice." "Go fuck yourselves," he spat on the floor. Artem slapped him again. "You told me to chill out." "I changed my mind." Hugo woke up after sleeping for 10 hours. Still not perfectly rested, but well enough. The previous night had ended well. The show was a success. Everything afterwards went smoothly without any interruptions. The audience was delighted, Adelaide was happy, and today the press would probably write about another major victory for the Polish fashion startup scene. At least some really pleasant news. The Russian spy had been taken into custody by magical counter-intelligence officers for interrogation. Hugo could expect to be called in as a witness, but he had a few hours to himself for now. First things first, he'd arranged to meet Zu, Artem, and Jean-Claude for brunch. Oh my, the book! He completely forgot about the book he had been studying the day before. No work today. I deserve a break. He went to the living room and saw 5 unanswered calls from the Ministry of Culture. What? Someone broke through the walls and accessed the book. The walls activated the alarm, but apparently this person extracted the spell and left quickly before anybody arrived, explained the government official. It was Leon, Hugo's friend from the Internal Security Agency. Fuck. Is there any spell left? Let me see the book. Forensics are analyzing it. You'll be allowed to examine it as soon as they are done. What the fucking fuck? No, I really need a break. I want to go to that brunch. I'm too tired. I'm afraid I have more bad news. He showed Hugo a photo. This guy. Hugo took the photo to inspect it. One of the former henchmen of you-know-who, Leon continued. He escaped prison in northern Finland this night. He seems to have used some form of animalistic morphing spell. Animalistic. The book. Of course. Shit. We have to interrogate the Russian. We do indeed. Let's go.